The snow threat tomorrow is high enough for certain locations in the valley for me to be making another video for specifically what I'm calling either a deformation band or a cold air dam type setup. So this is a video on where, when, and how much snow you can expect. So for the setup for this, I don't really want to call this a snowstorm, but for lack of a better word, I'll call it that. The low pressure system that will be affecting us will be making landfall right at around the Oregon California border, which is not optimal for heavy precipitation. So that means the bands of precipitation that will occur will be a little bit more lighter in nature. So as a result, it's not going to bring temperatures down as much when those bands come through. However, there is a chance that one of those bands could end up just stalling out. A lot of the computer model guidance has it stalling out right around Portland, like right about there. And if that happens, that can increase snow totals for that particular area if temperatures align. Now, on top of that, let me get the pen set up first. Cold air will be flowing through mainly the Columbia River Gorge with some lesser amounts possibly leaking over the Cascades, though if it goes over the Cascades, let's say over Santiam Pass, it will warm up as it descends back into the valley, unlike the Columbia River Gorge. That has a tendency to dam up with the low pressure system down where it is, right up against the Coast Range and the Chehalem Mountains, which means that it is more likely to receive snow for areas like Forest Grove, Dallas, Sheridan, McMinnville, areas kind of on the west side of the valley, right where I'm shading in green here. So on to the forecast notes. Snow in the air is definitely possible throughout the day, Sunday, anywhere north of the Lane County line, Lane/Lynn County line, I would say. Temperatures will be steady, probably in the mid to upper 30s, maybe reaching 40 degrees in areas outside of the metro area. But it is tricky to pinpoint the heaviest precipitation just because it's going to be a very narrow band. I'm talking like 10 miles tops. So where does this main deformation band set up? And again, if it sets up properly, could see up to 3 inches of snow if there is cold air support. I'm not sold that there is going to be cold air support. My forecast assumes there will not be enough cold air support to get those 3 inches. So on to the forecasted snow totals. As I mentioned with the cold air damming up right at about the Coast Range, I'm forecasting more snow along the Coast Range here. However, because it's coming out of the Columbia Gorge, I do think the eastern Portland metro area will stay in the bullseye for the snow totals, even if you ignore the deformation band. That being said, I'm only forecasting anywhere from about a trace to 2 inches for any of the areas in blue. For the areas in brown, anywhere from about 0 to 1 inches, mostly trace or nothing for these areas, and the blue mostly less than an inch. For the Cascades and Coast Range, 2 to 5 inches if you're above 1,500 feet, or about an inch to 3 inches if you're in the foothills. And then for the Columbia Gorge, where the cold air will be coming out of, about an inch to 3 inches. For the timeline, I will start with Portland's timeline. I do expect Sunday morning to be dry, switching over to some sort of precipitation right at about 8, 9 a.m. Temperatures right at around the mid-30s. I expect it to pretty much stay right around the mid-30s. High, I'm expecting to be about 37 degrees. If there's a break in the precipitation, I expect it to be when that happens. Precipitation should end probably at about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening hours, and after that, temperatures should start to go down. I don't think it'll be as cold as it was Friday morning, so as a result, I'm not expecting everything to freeze over, especially not on roads, but there could be some isolated frozen spots, especially in outlying areas. And for Corvallis, I don't think the precipitation holds around as long. The start time's a little earlier, probably at about 7 a.m. rather than 8 or 9 a.m. But I do expect Corvallis to completely transition out of any chance of snow probably at about noon or 1 p.m., give or take. Highs probably in the upper 30s. I'm calling 39 for Corvallis. But the rain should be done by about 5. The rain chances should be done by about 5 o'clock. It's plausible it's done by 2. For both locations, Monday should be dry. So on to the 7-day forecast for Portland. Pretty cold, even for December. They're not like bitter cold. Tomorrow's the only day I'm expecting to be in the 30s, while the rest of the week pretty much low to mid 40s throughout. Dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a wet Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Lows in the mid to upper 30s. For Corvallis, similar condition-wise with a dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a wet Thursday, Friday, Saturday. However, about 2 to 3 degrees warmer for the dry days and about a degree warmer for the wet days. So that is it for this video. There will not be another video on this subject unless if there is a rapid change for the upcoming week. The next video that should be out, and it's due to come out, I want to say a week from Wednesday, is my December update for the winter weather forecast that I made back in October. So look out for that right around Wednesday, plus or minus a day. So I will talk to you then if nothing else comes up, and take care.